Gamers, I'm sure you've heard of the new Gyrfalcon change that was recently in the new patch notes. Well, I'm going to present to you the Invisible Assassin. You've probably seen tons of videos telling you to use different stuff, different weapons. Well, I tested it out today and I was using some good weapons to this lost sector. I was using my funnel web and I was using Razor's Edge sword that I got from Iron Banner with Wellspring and Chain Reaction. I did some testing with Fallen Guillotine as well. I feel like you have the same outcome with a Fallen Guillotine, but the problem is that the Razor's Edge is a sword with Wellspring. A lot of people are saying you can use the Repulsor Brace perk on multiple weapons to give you that 50% overshield while you're killing everything. I do agree, but I did a master lost sector and I felt like this build struggled with match games. So if you're running this build in a master activity solo or with friends, you're gonna have to run Arbalest, something to break the shields. It's hard to brute force it, but the Repulsor Brace perk can drop on multiple weapons, and I feel like it's a good addition to your build. Again, this is just preference, what you would like to run. So we're gonna go over the Night Stalker subclass itself and tell you what aspects, abilities, and fragments to run. The aspects, you're gonna need Vanishing Step, so you can go Invis, because Gyrfalcon, the way it works is you go Invis, you come out of Invis, you turn into Assassin. You go Invis, you come out of Invis, you're nuts. Stylus Executioner. When you defeat a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target, it grants invisibility. Vortex Grenades, because they sit and cook longer. Snare Bombs to weaken enemies and also make you go Invis. Triple Jump, and then I'm using Gambler's Dodge, but you can also use Marksman Dodge if you're using like a machine gun, like a Commemoration, and you want to reload it. Fragments, this is where it gets tough. So I use Finisher, Final Blows, grant invisibility with Obscurity because I want to go Invis. So when I come out of Invis, I might hit a finisher on a champ, drop a loosened finisher, get some heavy. I want to be able to come out of Invis and be able to have volatile rounds. Echo of Undermining, this is where your discipline gets killed on your build. I'm going to have to grind more armor, but you're going to proc your Void Nades weakened effect. So you can kill ads in a big group or weaken an actual boss or champion. Persistence is if you get invisibility, you get overshield, or you get devour. It has increased duration. With this build, I was running around the lost sector and I could not get rid of devour. I had it unstop all the time. It was great. The only problem is with the mods I'm going to show you on my armor is if you're full on super and you're not rocking a gun with explosive light, you're gonna have to use your super so you can pick up more orbs of light so you can keep proccing devour. And starvation, when you pick up the orb power from the ground, you get devour. So it's devour, invis, high DPS volatile rounds. It's pretty disgusting. So on my helmet, I chose to do two different builds here to go over the mods. This is the DPS build if you're using a linear or a sword or multiple void weapons and you want to do high DPS to bosses or raid bosses. You're going to be using double harmonic siphon, so when you get kills with your void weapons, it drops orbs of power. On the helmet, I'm going to run Font of Might and sharpshooting. This is huge. This is why I'm using funnel web. It has the Vice Stinger origin trait. That perk on the funnel web is Vice Stinger, and it damages an enemy with this weapon. I have a small chance to reload the magazine, so it's really nice. That artifact mod is huge. I definitely want to test out more with that. Going on to the gauntlets, I'm going to run another Font of Might. I had overload rounds on because I was doing a lost sector, and bolstering detonation, it'll give me class ability energy when I do damage with my grenade. Chaining your grenade abilities. You can also run like demolitionist. It's up to you. I just feel like you don't need it. Huge piece to this, the Gyrfalcon exotic chest piece that they made changes to. So Reaping Wellmaker, every time you use a class ability and then you kill something with your weapon, it's going to drop that elemental well. So you know with the Font of Might build, you know that you can dodge, kill something, drop the elemental well, pick it up, and then juice damage with your swords or your linear. The Gyrfalcon chest piece itself has See Me, Feel Me. Your void weapons gain volatile rounds after you emerge from being invisible. So you go invis, when you come out, your void weapons have volatile rounds. You can chain this and have unlimited amounts of volatile rounds. When you are invis and you defeat a combatant with a finisher, all of your weapons gain bonus damage. This is for 5 seconds. You and your nearby allies gain a reserve overshield and improved class ability regen. These reserve overshields can be deployed by using your class ability. So again, going invis with your Reaping Wellmaker, killing something or hitting a finisher first, and then making your elemental well, you're going to pop out and do more damage. Boots. I chose to do Well of Tenacity, so anytime I make these elemental wells and I pick them up, more damage resist. I had Sword Scav on because I was using a sword. You can also go to an artifice piece and put on more mobility or resilience. Class item is all preference as well. Since I was solo, I was running the solo operative mod and I was using elemental time dilation, so my font lasted longer. I use utility kickstart to give me a more class juice on ability charges. Again, I was using this sword Razor's Edge with Wellspring because when I get kills with it, it divides energy to my uncharged abilities. It was working really well, but you can also use your Falling Guillotine. I did test this build out in the dungeon. I struggled on the Harpy boss for high DPS, so I feel like if you want to use this build for DPS, like you would use Font of Might or High Energy Fire, however you would like, please make sure that it's a stationary boss where you can just sit and shoot them or hit them with a sword, because if they're moving around, you're going to struggle a little bit. Now let's move on to the more ad clearing, just run around like a dumbass. So we're actually going to take off Font and we're going to put on Bountiful Wells. That way, when you make an elemental well, it's going to make 2 wells. You could keep Font of Might on, but you have to understand that we're going to lose the elemental time dilation, because we're probably going to put on something else. So what I did is I took off Reaping since I'm running around killing everything, and I chose elemental armaments. So when you're killing stuff with an element that matches your subclass, such as my funnel web or my sword, it has a chance to drop elemental wells. So Bountiful Wells is going to drop more wells if the elemental armaments procs. You can keep Font on if you really want, but you can also switch it out with something else or do another copy of another mod. I'm definitely going to keep Will of Tenacity on, but let's just say for testing's sake, you wanted to run like Elemental Charge, and then you came to an agreement that you wanted to take off Elemental Time Dilation. You could actually come down here and throw on High Energy Fire. So again, this build is going to come down to plenty of different mods you would like. It's just, I thought this would be cool if you can just run through content, smash champions, DPS bosses. So that's why I think you can either make a lot of elemental wells while you're running through and you're not really worried about damaging a lot of Lost Sector bosses, or you can actually proc your Font of Might with your linear and use the Vice Stinger perk and destroy the bosses with your linear. Totally up to you. Try this out. Gyrfalcon build, it's absolutely busted, and I'm sure you'll see plenty of other builds around too, so check them out. Use what works for you. Remember, there's no wrong way to use this build. It's just what you want to use and what weapons you have and what you don't have. Also, gamers, if you're looking at that drip that I finally dripped out the hunter, and here's the ornaments and shaders that I've been using. Also, you're probably like, Clyde, I want this build. I want to know what mods you were using. I'll put the loadout in the dim link in the description down below. See you in the next one. Peace.